Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
So I'm not going to lie to you. I literally was sitting here thinking about how to give a condensed version of last night. And I have a confession. I made it up all the way until AOC. And what's his name? I think Steve Kerr. I don't remember who was first, but those are my last two memories. Told myself that if I went in the room and sat up in the bed, that I wouldn't fall asleep for Uncle Joe, which I'm saying now we're kind of calling Grandpa Joe. And yeah, long night last night, but we'll talk more about that later when I'm alone. I am excited today to bring back into the Java Cafe the person who is responsible. And if you're a UCB member, I need you to go in the comments right now and type UCB. He's going to share with us some bonus points today for UCB members. And so we're going to bring him in today and talk about Union Capital, challenges and opportunities of being the type of organization that it is, as well as do some spotlighting and some other things. And so shout out to the Davis system that made this connection, also working with Union Capital now. And so we're going to bring in our good friend and brother that I've known for some years, pre-pandemic, watched him support community during the pandemic. And so without further ado, to all the Mother's Board and whatnot, UCB members, we're going to bring in the pastor of UCB, Eric.
I've never been introduced like that. Oh man.
We got to give you the promotion, sir. How are you, man?
I'm doing even better now. It's great to be with you. Great to see the chat blowing up with the UCB love. So appreciate it.
UCB is a Java with Jimmy staple. And so to entice people to that may not be members and the members that are here watching now, why don't we start with Sharon? We didn't ask for all of that. Sharon Cornelius. She had to put all the hearts in the love and had a couple of typos. I'm messing with her. But Eric, why don't you share with the folks that are members of UCB some information that, you know, they might find a little beneficial, along with the other information we're going to talk about, but, you know, some other information they may find beneficial today.
That's right. Well, you know, if they checked their email and got the announcement this morning as well, welcome joining with us. Great to be here. And once you're done watching, head on over to the UCB app, or if you're watching from Springfield, because we shared out in our Springfield network too. We'll talk a bit about that. So the UCS app over in Springfield, go log into the app. It's listed there, Java with Jimmy. Check in and earn 500 bonus points. Usually be 100 points an hour for anything you're doing. We got 500 for watching today. 500
bonus points for the time that you're watching today. So at some point I need to get on and join UCB. Right. So I can and look, then there'll be a little more incentive, because Eric, it's very interesting at like 9:50, you know, I'm like, okay, UCB, you get an hour. And then at like 9:57, they start asking questions, and then they start wanting more conversation. As soon as we get to 10:01, like UCB members, you get 90 minutes.
Yeah. They keep it going.
And so I really appreciate them. Shout out to all the UCB members that are in the building. Kathy Kim is in the building. Good to see you. And so, Eric, for those that don't know, I talk about it a little bit in the work that you do in community. For those that follow me on Instagram, they saw the blooper reel that I did covering your great event a few months ago. But what is UCB? Who is UCB, and what is it that UCB does for the community?
So, really appreciate the time and platform, because what we're doing here is so much enveloped in what Union Capital is. It is this greater mission of building and sparking, sustaining something that's called social capital. But look, I say, when you walk down, if you walk down the street and you ask 10 people what social capital is, 10 people are going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. So big deal what the term is. But if you ask those same 10 people, is there someone in your life that has put in a good word for you that's gotten you a job, right? Or taking care, of you and your family in a time of need, or giving you some good advice that you've then acted upon and made a new decision or gotten out and acted in community? 10 out of 10 are going to say yes. And that is social capital. Social capital is this powerfully dynamic, hard to see and measure, as much as we say like financial capital, it's like the money in your pocket. Human capital is the knowledge you got in your brain. But in our world, and especially in the United States, especially with these kind of institutionalized systems and racist structures we know it's not always what you know. And in fact, it's not always what you have in your pocket, but it's who you know and how you can leverage your relationships and networks to make opportunity, not only for yourself, for your family, for your community. And so social capital is this really powerful, hard to see, hard to measure, hard to create thing. Our mission is we founded 10 years ago. You can see here in my little screen, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary. 10 years ago, there we are. We set on this mission of how in today's world can we spark and sustain social capital in communities that generationally have been under-resourced, marginalized, have resources stripped out of them and been oppressed in ways that make it harder and harder to make those connections and to support each other. How might we now, in what was 2014, get people to get out in community, support each other, find resources and opportunities, and work towards the greater benefit of our community without one specific mission. So our mission is to transform social capital into opportunity by rewarding community engagement. The mission isn't, go to school, buy a home, get a job, improve your health. It's actually all of those things. It's any of those things. It's kind of a choose your own adventure. It is however you want to engage in community for your benefit. And so the twist, and as we've already mentioned here this morning, the introduction of all of this was, if this is really valuable, why don't we value it, right? Dunkin' Donuts values you by giving you points to come buy your coffee, right? American Airlines values you.
Can I just chime in just because you referenced to a coffee entity, corporation? Send a check, Dunkin' Donuts. Go ahead.
That's right. Exactly. Right. Like, come on, let's go. They got all these reward programs out there, the airlines, the supermarkets, they want your loyalty. They want your patronage and because it's valuable to them. So if community engagement is so valuable, we decided to flip that idea on its head and said, what if we actually then recognized and rewarded community and civic engagement, broadly defined, wherever out and about you're going, you earn points and those points add up to a little bit of money. And that's where the UCB app came from. And here we are 10 years later, continuing to build it.
Eric, do me a favor. If you look to the right in the private chat, and folks know I do production and stuff in real time, if you could put the link in the private chat. So for the app, and the app will also allow those that are interested to be new members, that they can sign up to be new members there as well. And so there's a couple of folks in the room that are very much aware of the work you do and also do similar work. And so shout out to Aaron from the Davis system. The app, the link is actually in the comments, but we'll also put it up as a banner as well. But I saw something from Pam. UCB folks or those adjacent to are definitely hustlers.
That's right.
If I join UCB, then will I get retroactive points? Pam, that's a lot of points. And I can unequivocally say, Eric, that like she's in here often. But yeah, go to the app. I'm actually going to put it in a banner, but it is also linked in the comments. And you can go right there and sign up to be a member of UCB. So Eric, let me ask you sort of a twofold question. There's a lot of challenges specifically within marginalized communities and communities of color. How do you navigate and work in communities of color? And why do Why does Union Capital have that specific focus?
Yeah, I appreciate starting with this question. Name it, because here I am, this kind of like dorky white guy sitting with you talking about organizing communities of color. Let's let's kind of say what's going on here. Right?
I just I cannot with you today. I was not ready.
Come on, man, get that coffee going. We have, that's the important part of telling the story of Union Capital, is telling my story as well, being the founder and lead organizer, and not skipping over my identity and my background. Right, so I'm originally born and raised in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I left here for many years and wound my way back, and I'm back in Cambridge. Growing up in Cambridge, when we think about social capital, it's a funky place, right? Because you've got this density of Harvard and MIT and this wealth and opportunity, but for some, not for all, right? It's a very segregated and divided city, especially when I was growing up in the 1980s, in our education system and our neighborhoods. And I was born as a white guy to hippie parents with all those privileges and opportunities, but also these progressive values that was beginning to inform me that the way things are in our world are not the way they should be. But here I was then coming in the 1990s and in high school questioning that and saying, but wait a second, I'm kind of benefiting from this white privilege. What is it? What is the work that I can do, and how do I show up alongside others to address these inequities? Building social capital, again, didn't know what that term was, but there's this concept of both the bonding capital you have in your own community. And that's very important, right? Knowing your neighbors, being connected through whether it's your faith traditions, your work, your ethnicity and culture. Having that bonding social capital is very important. However, it can also be problematic, right? When we think about dense enclaves, of white communities or others in kind of powerful groups that tighten up together and build their power and keep others out. You also want to have this bridging social capital. You want to be able to connect you and your relationships with other communities and groups of people. And just by kind of good fortune, when I was in high school, I learned about and joined a transformative youth organization called Project Hip Hop, Highways into the Past, History, Organizing, and Power. This youth group that was led by Nancy Murray out of the ACLU of Massachusetts, and was a summer program, a trip down south with kids, high school students from all over Boston. I don't know how you could pull it off today, like the legality of just 20 kids climbing into 3 vans and just driving through the South with a couple of wonderful adults chaperoning us, stirring up trouble, to learn about the civil rights movement, to visit the sites and monuments, but more importantly, to meet with the veterans who are continuing the organizing work. And so my story really, starts in the path and the kind of profession that I've been fortunate to follow begins down in the Mississippi Delta, connecting with veterans from the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, leaders of the civil rights movement, in particular, my mentor, Hollis Watkins, who inspired me to show up to do organizing work, which isn't about having the answers. It's not about, being a white savior and thinking you have the policy solutions and what's best for others and for communities and all this stuff that may be, very well intentioned by people, but we know all the problems that it brings about. Organizing resonated with me and continues to connect with the work that I do today, because it's about relationships. It's about building trust and knowing that change moves at the speed of trust. And so if we're going to work together, we have to get to know each other, our stories, who are we, where are we from, what are our values? And that's how social capital gets built. And that's how I kind of embarked on a career of organizing in Mississippi and then Baltimore, New York City, then became a teacher and taught in Philadelphia for several years, and ultimately was principal of a middle school, part of the KIPP charter school network, where I served as principal for over 4 years in North Philadelphia, and was, continually confronting this need and challenge to build trust, to make connections, and to share resources, because to build power collectively can't be done alone. It can't be done just by studying books and taking a test, or stuffing money into your pocket. It can only be built if we're voting together, if we're speaking out together, if we're working to address issues. But we then face a world in which we become increasingly divided. And when we look when we look at the civil rights movement, there was this bonding, connecting power that emanated from it, that for a variety of reasons, good and bad, a lot of bad reasons, but good and bad, that we don't have today. So the long answer to your question, back to the original question, right? Like, why this is that to work for sustainable change and to dismantle racist systems in our country, I believe, and I think research really bears out, unfortunately is not achievable only in the classroom, right? It as much as I am a teacher.
And that's somewhat trying to be limitations are being put on that because seeing examples of folks that look like you is also important to, like you talk about, maybe different mentors, maybe look different, but and we're talking about communities of color, seeing the history intentionally trying to be erased in the classroom is a huge part. So not just in the classroom, but even that's limited. But go ahead.
Right. No, absolutely right. It's all, and that's, as a teacher, like first, and as a principal, is like first and foremost, we've got to make sure our students are learning everything that we can fit in, cram into their brain every minute of the day. And right, it's not an or, it's an and. We have to be thinking collectively beyond the walls of our school building, because they're only in school with us about, it's like 18% of their living lives, hours are in the school building. And to work to dismantle systems necessitates building new networks. And I think that's where today's dialogue gets, broken down, unfortunately, by a lot of idiots, right? It's like, I'm not prejudiced, so I'm not racist, right? And all this, all this garbage, and we could go off on a tangent about that. When we really understand systems, right, that perpetuate inequities, it doesn't matter like who you are, what your viewpoint sitting in that chair. But if there's these networks of like, oh, I'm going to give my nephew an internship, right? I'm going to put in a good word for my neighbor. I'm going to help them buy a home. And they're all of the same background, right? They all have the wealth, the power, the white, whatever access they might have. It perpetuates generationally these inequities. Yep. So if we're going to dismantle it, we've got to do the same exact thing. How are communities of color and people of color having each other's back to buy a home, to support their kids in school, to get them a job and into whatever opportunity is out there, necessitates building those networks of trust, bonding and bridging that social capital across communities. And that's why I think it's so critically important that we build this.
It is, it's interesting because I've we've been in community for years, but hearing, and I may have heard bits and pieces before, but hearing it in sort of a succession and chronological, your journey that contributes to who you are. I mean, being in North Philly, riding through the South, I have to acknowledge Project Hip Hop. A lot of great leaders have come out of that program. And so we want to acknowledge the great work that was done there. We're going to take a break real quick, but on the other side, we're going to talk, and you spoke to it a little bit. And in the last segment, before we get ready to wrap up, we're going to spotlight some of the great work and folks at UCB, but you talked about it a little bit. And if you can go more in depth about how you've taken your life experience and now being the founder and CEO of UCB, and maybe talk on a macro level about the impact. You touched on it a little bit just by who you are. But on the other end of this, we're going to talk about impact. And that's a good, I'm kind of doing all right as host. And that's a good segue into talking about the spotlights and the work and those that are doing great work. Last time you were here, I think we did the grant, or we're talking about the grant announcement with Daniel and some others, or DL in his artist name. Right. So we're going to take a break, folks. We're going to come back with Eric. Don't forget, if you are not a UCB member, you can go to this link right here. It is hyperlinked, and I'll put it again. I think that was the last thing I cut and paste. I'll put it again in the comments. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we're doing all right over here with production today. You can go in the comments right now while we take this break. I mean, we want you to, get the information, but you can hyperlink and go join Union Capital right now. And for those of you that are already members, now, Eric, let me ask you, if they join today, by the end of the show, are they eligible to go on the app and get the additional 500 bonus 100%. Points, Pam?
And 100 and Pam, anything you've done at any time, you can go back the previous 7 days. So today's Tuesday. You did something on Sunday. You kind of got the 7-day retroactive, like, oh, I forgot to put that in the app. You got 7 days, go and retroactively put that in.
Okay. All right. We and folks are really in here. Shout out to everybody from UCB. I see Donna Williams-Bowen in here as well, whom I'm sure you know. And some others. And so let's take this break real quick, and we will be back with you in just a couple of seconds, everyone.
For the innovators, the dreamers, the risk takers, independent workers who keep our neighborhoods thriving. Connector Care from the Massachusetts Health Connector has plans for every lifestyle and budget.
Having access to affordable healthcare is for everyone in our community.
Connector Care plans help more people save on healthcare that covers all their needs. Find out if you qualify for Connector Care. Visit mahealthconnector.org or call 1-877-MA-ENROLL.
Hey, folks, we are here with Eric Leslie, who is the CEO and founder of Union Capital Boston. And we're going to talk a little bit about some expansion, but just a programming note for you. Please keep in mind, and I meant to share this, excuse me, yesterday, but we will be live today at 2 p.m. coming live from the Boston Public Market. I'm actually, when I get off of here today, shout out to the Department of Agriculture for the state of Massachusetts. Your boy is going down to help judge tomatoes from some local Massachusetts farmers. And so that's taking place this morning. That will not be live, but at 2 p.m. we are going live again through our partnership with the Boston Public Market and talk with some folks from the Department of Agriculture. So please keep that in mind. But getting back to our guest today, Eric Leslie, you talked a little bit about your personal journey, and let's now talk about the impact and maybe spotlight what Union Capital is doing. And I'm sure you include in there and in the beginning, and I want to shout them out. Everybody from Springfield that's listening, we don't want to slight Boston, but if you're from Springfield, do me a favor, go in the comments right now and type Springfield. But Eric, talk about the impact and in that mixing where you would like spotlighting a lot of the folks in the work that Union Capital is doing in community.
Yeah. So, it's one of those things that you feel and like, okay, getting help from my neighbors and putting in a good word that feels good. And we think about going to a block party. I think before the pandemic, we often felt like being friendly with our neighbors is a good thing, but we actually didn't really realize how measurably impactful that is. Communities that have higher rates of volunteerism, public meeting attendance, and helping of neighbors have statistically significant higher rates of employment gain and voter participation, irrespective of socioeconomic status of that community. So these things that we think maybe are not directly connected, right? Helping your neighbor with employment, we know through our lived experience really are. And communities that can do this at a higher rate have these better benefits. So then as us as an organization, we thought, well, let's learn and see if that's actually the case. Our members, when they join on our app, and those that have created an account this morning, when you log in, you'll see a little red banner that says, take our entry survey, earn 250 bonus points, take the entry survey.
So wait a minute, hold on, because I think we had to do this before.
That's right.
And let's be specific. 500 bonus.
That's right.
Is that in addition to the regular for watching Java with Jimmy?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get 100 points an hour watching Java with Jimmy. Now you're going to get 500. You get 250 points for taking the survey. You're halfway to the bronze level, which is a $25 Visa gift card. So you're already halfway there, just like that. Now in this survey, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Not bad. And so we're incentivizing and recognizing your engagement and your sharing in our learning. Kept then confidentially in our tight database system with Salesforce. They should advertise here as well. Costs a lot of money to keep it secure, but that's really important. We have this data that comes in that people answer these questions about employment, education, financial access, health resources, et cetera. And incredibly, right, I was surprised the first year and two that we were getting these results. It matches up exactly with that national research. Our members, when they join, About 24% report being unemployed, about 25% full-time employment, within a mixture of people who are students, out of the workforce, retired, on disability, otherwise. And then we ask every year in December, same people match up the same survey results. You get 1,000 bonus points when you take the annual survey in December. That banner will pop up again. Get those points, right? We're incentivizing your information and learning from you. Those same members, 24% that was unemployed, dropped to about 14% unemployed. The same members in which about 50% did not know their credit score drops to about 35%, with real tangible significant gains in the 600s, 700s, and above in credit. In the Boston mayoral election, the final round of the election, which I think in the city of Boston, registered voters was about 33% of registered voters that turned out to vote. Our members that were eligible to vote, over 70% reported voting in the election. We see gains in education advancement, associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees. Harder to measure in health outcomes. There's a lot of powerful research out there about the benefits of declines in social isolation, right? Of knowing your neighbors, how it actually improves mental health, but also lowers your blood pressure, increases longevity and life expectancy. We're not able and we're not directly measuring those things, but we know the research backs that up. So we're finding with our own members that people get jobs, people improve their financial outcomes, people get out and vote and speak out and get more engaged in community because of this app, because of this invitation, because of this building of relationships, even though we are not doing ourselves direct job training and placement. We ourselves are not doing direct, credit repair workshops. We're sharing about these things. We're partnering with organizations that are doing those things. We're bringing people in. And by building those networks and connections, the results and impact is profound now for about 4,500 members, maybe a couple more today, 4,500 members across Boston and Springfield.
I got a little distracted because I wanted to jump in and answer this question from someone I think that's listening on YouTube. Hold on for 1 second. Will, so depending on where you're watching, brother, the link is live. It's a bit.ly link, and so I'm not sure, but there is one further up in the comments. But what I'll do is I'll get there and put the direct link in. But I wanted to answer your question because he asks, and I'll answer this for Eric. Sounds good. You've got my curiosity. Good thing. What's the catch? The catch is, as Eric was just speaking to, the community impact, the neighbor promotion, and also an additional and enhanced sense of community with those that are from UCB. And bruh, you get points. And if you join today, you get, let's just retract it. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Let's just go over it again.
Review.
Thank you. Retract, review. See, you did tell me a few minutes ago to drink my coffee.
Okay.
All right, let's go over it. So new member gets how many points?
The 250 for taking the survey, and then
Okay.
the first event that you're at, depending on what that event is, you'll get a points for that.
So if you're watching today, that's a potential 250.
Yeah.
Then for watching today, you get a bonus 500. And then so you're walking away with
750 this morning. And you're halfway to 1,500, which will get you a $25 Visa gift card. And I love the question of, what's the catch, right? Because free money is, doesn't really exist in our world. And I have to stress that's why the storytelling, the relationship building is so important, that we're able to speak about why we're doing this. We're a nonprofit organization, right? So first you think, oh, is this some type of pyramid scheme, right? Or some scam to get information money? We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is about learning, about these impact, outcomes and improving our community through the work that we're doing. And so the catch really is the same catch as a grocery supermarket card. When you sign up for that grocery card, you don't have to go to that market. You can go to any market that you want. Yep. It's your choice that when you sign up from us, if you want to check into events, if you want to report about your community engagement, your volunteerism, helping of neighbors, going to public meetings, you then can earn points that add up to money, which over the course of the year can be up to $500 on Visa gift cards. And I always address, so why Visa gift cards? Why that amount? There's some things in our systems that make it better that way. It means we don't need social security numbers. So when you sign up, we're not collecting any financial information, no bank account information, nothing like that. So we can print it and send it on a Visa gift card. It also means it's not taxable income. That's why it's capped at $500. You don't have to report this. It doesn't impact benefits. We don't need documentation. Just some money in the pocket. It means we have to send you a new card each time because we need, bank account information to reload it otherwise. So it keeps it simple, straightforward. And on average, our members who are engaged doing this, a couple times a week, going out to things such as here today, earn on average about $200 a year on Visa gift cards. So it's not going to pay the rent. That's all. This isn't universal basic income, which is a powerful theory in organizations that we partner with. It's the money to a greater. It's a means to a greater end. Right? It's an invitation in these spaces.
There's another benefit, and someone typed here. It's togetherness. It's information and awareness. And let's just highlight. You talked about the fact, and we got to attribute some contribution of being involved with UCB and connecting and finding out about job opportunities or whatever. That decrease in those that are unemployed. The decrease in those that didn't know their credit score and then are actively working to increase their credit score, because we know that's a big component of home ownership, which is a big component of decreasing the wealth gap. So Eric,
all kind of, and that's this building of social capital. And you say, oh, what does it matter if I know my neighbor or something? It's like, how does this kind of like steamroll into this? And it adds up. We've awarded over $2.1 million in the 10 years that we've been doing this. Like it's money that we've been trying to find under couches and through grant applications and bring it in, and through all the networks that we've built and the friendships that we both have with great people in our community to be able to do it.
Listen, you got the folks at and of course, with all due credit, it's really real and valid, but that Mama Job and Sharon Cornelius are going to be in here talking about the great benefit. And I mean, I've seen it, my mother's engagement and whatnot. So Eric, before we get ready to wrap up, there's a celebration, probably an opportunity for folks to donate and support this work that's coming up, I believe, in the middle of October and it's going to be in Roxbury in Hibernian Hall. And so I like the intentionality there of keeping it local and in the hood. So what is going on? What's the date? What's the information? What's happening in October?
Appreciate you asking and being here to share about it. This is kind of you're the official unveiling and announcing about what we're doing. Going back to that original thing of like saying, when you walk down the street, no one knows that social capital is. We feel that it's really not only important that we do our work and our members are getting resources and rewards and making impact, but that our community at large learns more about what social capital is. And one of the ways we've seen that people learn about new topics is kind of through those TED Talk style things, right? These kind of 10-minute videos online, learn about, savings or life skills. And so we thought, well, why don't we do Union Capital Talks? Why don't we host something like a TED Talk, and let's do it with our people in our community. So on Saturday, October 19th at Hibernian Hall, there in Nubian Square on Dudley Street, we're going to be hosting Union Capital Talks from 1 to 3 p.m. in which we have set out invites. Some people might be listening now or hear this, people that we've been inviting, some local prominent leaders and speakers who are making an impact in our community that can speak to how social capital drives their work and impact, because of the relationships and networks that they build. We also are going to highlight some of our leaders. So joining us as well to speak is one of the Thomas Ruffin Fund grantees, Rosie Del Canto, one of our leadership training leaders from UC Learns, Vanessa Morales, one of our founding members and wonderful leaders performing, Gina Monique. And then we're also inviting prominent local leaders to speak as well about how social capital makes a difference and an impact. And that's as part of our 10th anniversary celebration. And so I'll kind of then slide in lastly, we're going to close out the year on Thursday, December 12th with our members and community with one of those big fun balloon celebratory galas at the Westin Copley downtown. We're going to do it up. We don't do this is the first one and only time, but like this
it's 10 years. So, come on, it's a decade of work.
That's right.
You got to celebrate. You got to
celebrate one and done, big celebration in December. We'll share more about that later on, but
it's 20 years and then 25 and then
there we go. That's okay. That we'll do that. So join us on October 19th. It's free, open to the public. We'll be sending out the Eventbrite and posting that in the couple weeks as we have speakers confirmed. So this is kind of a preview, and put it on your calendar. you will be getting 1,000 points an hour for attending. So this is really, big time. Come on out, hear the talks, fill the hall, cheer us on.
Okay, I might have to go ahead and click this link and
the final piece, right? I should add this in. We have Mr. James Java with Jimmy Hills as our master of ceremonies.
Wait a minute,
right?
I thought you was gonna like say somebody's performing or something. All right, go ahead. You can.
We got you keeping moving us through and sharing all these connections and bringing people in the room. So we're thrilled to have you emceeing and making the event a great community celebration.
I'm definitely glad to be a part of it. And way back, Eric, when I remember we were sitting across from City Hall. I think we went to an event, had a meeting or did something, and we were sitting right across from City Hall on that island. Myself, you, Councilor Mejia, a couple of other folks, Diane Sullivan, and a couple of other folks. And it was just very powerful. And to see how we've all went in sort of different ways and still doing the work, but still have our bond, to which you referred in the beginning. And so listen, and you said October 19th, right?
Saturday, October 19th. I love that. I was thinking about the same thing, sitting on that island, and a shout out. That is when we think about those networks, those relationships. I first met Reverend Mariama White Hammond. We were both 15 years old in Project
Hip Hop. Yep.
Right. She then went on to be the executive director of Project Hip Hop. I was fortunate and privileged to then join the board, which at the time then, now Councilor Julia Mejia was on the board of Project Hip Hop. We connected there. She's like, I got to introduce you to my friend James. We're doing voter turnout engagement work. Those networks, right, lead to powerful change. We might not know when we're sitting there at a certain time on across from City Hall what it leads to, but the relationships open doorways to power in our community. And that's what we sit here doing today.
It was amazing. And Donna was there. Definitely got a shout out to Determined Divas that was a part of that event, to which you referred in July, where we turned out over 400 people and got people registered and addressed some issues that were going on nationally. And so there's history here, y'all. There's credibility. And so, Eric, thank you. We could stay here for longer, but I got to go eat tomatoes. Awesome. Yeah, I'm judging tomatoes. And then we'll be live at 2:00 as well. And so I appreciate you, sir. I'm looking forward to the celebration. I'm looking forward to October 19th. And then the 20th celebration as well. Not one and done.
There we go. I know. Yeah.
It is one and done, because knowing Eric, and I say this as just the observation that Eric probably won't be there for the 20th. What I mean by that is Eric is the type that believes in giving other folks opportunities, and he'll probably, with all due, move on to, doing something bigger, or there'll be a Union Capital USA.
That's right. We're in Springfield, right? So shout out to Springfield. We had to drop. We were Union Capital Boston. We now are Union Capital Boston. Boston and Springfield. So if you're in Boston, it's UCB. If you're in Springfield, it's UCS. We are again moving at the speed of trust and the relationships that we build. So we don't have our sights set on one place or another, but wherever the relationships are that we can be of support and make an impact. We'll see in another 10 years what this adventure brings, but it's been truly a privilege and an honor to be with all the people in the chat, shouting out the love, to have worked with all of you for all these years. There's no greater honor and appreciation than that. And I just love and look forward to continuing to do it for the next decade and beyond.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks for being here. William, I hope you go ahead and join. Thank you, brother. William, as my aunt said, he said earlier in his comment, he was like, I don't need the money, but I would like the community. And so, William, just a suggestion, get your points and do what you do, and you can give that back. As my aunt is saying, Auntie Java, make a gift to the organization in your name. The Visa cards are made out in your name. And so, William, we put the link up as you asked. We answered the question, and we did everything that we are supposed to do well. And just before we go, if you would like to donate in general to what Union Capital is doing, we're going to put that link in the comments as well as here on the screen. And for those of you to take screenshots, William, please feel free to take a screenshot. I'll put the link up again. But it's also hyperlinked in the comments there where you can go and donate. And so, someone just said, Timothy Smith, UCB is one of the best, most informative. And we definitely want to highlight that. But someone just said, where is it? Oh, shout out to
Right. Welcome.
I'm officially a UCB member, and I got y'all are funny. I keep telling them, Eric, one of these days they need to get together and combine their gift cards, and we have a Java with Jimmy UCB meetup. And they put their gift cards together. Someone bring donuts, someone bring coffee, and and we can do it
I'm
right
there.
in UCB's office.
I'm there. We'll provide the donuts. And then at some point too, we would love to like the technology, the tracking bill, but we'd love to do like crowdfunding, right? For those that's like I got the $25, but imagine if we could all contribute our money that we're earning to building a playground, or a community project.
Bruh, that is see,
that's on the horizon if we can.
And see, look at this. For those that just wondering or whatever, I got my $25 gift card. So.
It's real.
Eric, it is definitely real, and it was real having you here with us, brother. And again, shout out to the Davis system and my team, Anissa and whatnot. And the Davis system is a part of that, but for making this happen.
Representing in Chicago.
Listen, Anthony was on CNN a few times last night, and it was definitely dope to see it. And he was working on his phone, and he did say he was probably texting our group chat, but it was awesome to see them there. So shout out to Aaron, Anissa, that's a part of it. Ton is in here as well, and others that are part of the Davis system. Jaden and oh God, I'm going to get in trouble. Maisha, a part of the Davis system as well. So Eric, thank you. I'm getting ready to go down and judge
tomatoes.
Hopefully none will be thrown at me, but
no, man, eat them up. That must be delicious. We'll see you on October 19th. It's going to be a really informative, fun event. Build social capital there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Good to see you, man.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Folks, as always, we are sharing information with you, and that is just another source of information. You can go become a member, UCB, and get all your points today. All right, I have to get ready to run. Don't forget, we're on today at 2:00 tomorrow morning. We have the opportunity to speak with Jasmine McNeese, who's going to be with us. And also on Thursday, we're speaking with Jake Small. So please join us, and we'll see you later on today. Shout out to the Real Boston Media that's over on Instagram, and also folks that are watching on Twitter. Spent some time with them yesterday in a live chat. So glad to have you here today. Rushing away a little bit so we can get downtown and judge these tomatoes before we talk with folks at 2 p.m. live from Boston Public Market at 2 p.m. Everybody have a great and wonderful day. We'll see you at 2 p.m. Peace, y'all.